This is where the fun begins.
Hello, hello, and good morning, everyone, and welcome to Thursday morning coffee chat. And this is OG Star Wars, your host here with Steve Kenobi, co-host here, and I am so excited to be here with you guys this morning. And we'll be basically going over part 2 of Small Victories from the Rebellion comics with Dina, Sean, and of course our OT heroes and everybody that is in that era. And then talk a little bit about Obi-Wan Kenobi himself. And so, good morning, Stig. How are you doing?
Doing quite well. Hungry, though. I forgot to eat today.
Well, maybe you could take a pause after we're done with the introductions and stuff and go grab a bite to eat real quick. So you don't get angry on us. Yeah, so we have people trickling in right now. And so the number one question I always like to ask is, what is in your mug? What are you enjoying? The beverage you're enjoying? Blah, I can't even talk today, but we'll make it through my nonsense. Yeah. So Stig, do you have anything to drink on you right now, or did you forget to grab?
No, I have a Coca-Cola Zero.
Okay. Zeros. Those, when I used to drink sodas, like the Zeros are the ones that are like named to really show that's a diet kind of thing. They never really tasted good to me, really.
Yeah, and just because there's no sugar doesn't mean there's no calories.
Right. Yeah, that's how it goes. And then so we have Dermont to McQuaid. OG Star Wars, hello there. Why, hello. And then Matt G. It's always good to see you, Matt G. Hello to you as well. And Keely Chow is in the chat. Hey, everybody. Good morning. So people are trickling in, and I'm so glad you guys are joining in here. So, Stig, I know that you've been reading a lot of fantasy books. So, I know it's not Star Wars, but I'm curious. What are you reading right now?
Right now, I'm reading an R.A. Salvatore book.
Oh, okay.
About dark elves.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, R.A. Salvatore is also has written for Star Wars as well. So great author there, and great fantasy stuff that he produces. Chaos Man 17. Hi, OG. Did you see the new Sator cinematic? It was nice seeing my favorite era of Star Wars. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. People sent me the link to review, and with Sator, the game itself, I am not too privy on the knowledge with it and the dynamics with it to really give an honest opinion about it. Games is basically my weakness in Star Wars, like the Star Wars games. But I will watch it probably today or tomorrow and maybe post about it. And then Matt G, of course, hello, how are you? And then Lady T, how are you doing? Good morning, everyone. And what are you enjoying? Do you have coffee today, or do you have tea? What is it? Let us know.
Well, it does say Lady T, so it's probably tea.
It's the letter T, but we'll see. We'll see which way she goes with that. Yeah. All right. So how long has it been since you read the Small Victories, the last part of Dina Sean's arc?
Probably early last year, I think.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So we're going to continue on with part 2. We did
Actually, it might have been the year before.
Oh, okay. Let me change this. When it's just my view, it's easier. There we go. Much better. All right. So yeah, when the previous one right there, the home one, basically they are their coordinates from fleeing the Empire, the fleet that ambushed them and stuff, sent them to a fueling station, Imperial fueling station that they've been looking for. So that was like a happenstance, I guess you can say. And now they're going to try to infiltrate it and place a bomb and and destroy it, because that would open up a lot more for the Rebel Alliance. And so that's where we're at. So part 2, they got there and they're there. they planned, and they're going to try to infiltrate as well. So that's what's going on. So, and this right here, this is not very good with the face and stuff right here with the art. And let's see here, we have Miss Martin uses hello with her handshake or her wave and her rose. Thank you for coming in, darling. Thank you for your support. And then Darment McQuaid, my question. And then
he posted a bunch of questions further up.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Let's see here. I was busy chatting.
Well,
How long have you been a Star Wars fan? Since I was little. Since I was probably about 7 or 5, between that time. Yeah, started off with Empire Strikes Back, but first at the movies, at the drive-in, Empire Strikes Back, but before then we watched A New Hope on VHS. So yeah. And then he says, when were you introduced to the franchise? Okay, I got that. And then let's see here. Hi OG, did you see the new? Yeah, okay, I got that. I'm sorry I skipped over that. Hopefully that answered your question. And let's see here. And Neil, revisiting the old EU material really made me fall back in love with Star Wars. That's the whole point of this channel. Is anybody that's feeling disenfranchised from it, from what been, the lore that's been created and stuff like that. This is why this channel's here, is to bring you back to the heart of Star Wars, George Lucas era of Star Wars. And so my pleasure. And then, and yeah, she says, yes, Stig is right. Lady Grey Tea. There you go. There you go. And then Terminus, morning, and good morning to you. And Matt G is yo, what's up? What's up, everyone? Yeah. So basically, this is Dina Shan, and she is still included. And she revealed, and I think you might remember the Stig. She revealed why she has like a confidence issue, and it all links back to how her father treated her. Her father,
yes, daddy issues.
Right.
Also, today
mm-hmm.
it's 24 years since Mysteries of the Sith was released.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I put a link to it actually in the private chat.
Okay,
I
haven't open it. Let me go ahead.
It's basically an expansion to Jedi Knight 1, and you get to play as Mara Jade.
Wow!
Imagine that, female. Wow. A female lead in a video game 24 years ago.
I'm going to pull that up real quick. Let's see here. Let's use the stream here and share screen. There we go. All right. So I'll bring this up because, and it was shared. And if anybody wants to reshare that on their own Twitter page, that's good. Get the news out. So here we go. And look at who we have there. Like Steve said, Mara Jade. So very good stuff right there, you guys. Very good stuff.
The game has not aged well at all.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, if you look at the graphics, those early 3D models look terrible. Mm-hmm. I mean, Dark Forces looks way better, actually.
Yeah.
Because it uses 2D sprites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, but it's still fun. I wonder, like, okay, so because of modern technology, I wonder how playable it is now.
Well, if you get it on GOG, it certainly works. But it's I beat this game for the first time actually a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. It's probably the worst of the Jedi Knight series, to be honest. It was a bit tedious.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Basically, it's with the early, I guess, Jedi Knight 1 and Dark Forces, every area, when you're supposed to infiltrate an Imperial facility and stuff, mm-hmm. It doesn't look like an Imperial facility because the layout is kind of like, it's just like a maze, mm-hmm. Just to make it more difficult,
Okay.
But once Jedi Knight 2 came out, that was gone. Everything made perfect sense.
Mm.
So it's the Jedi Knight games are still trying to, they're still in the the Doom era of shooters and what have you.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So there you have it right here, you guys. Of course, not every game is going to be a hit, right? But I mean, this is a a fun way to play Mara Jade if you're really interested in that.
Yeah,
So,
basically you play as both of them
okay.
because there's several chapters, I guess, in the game,
Hmm.
and something happens to Kyle, and Mara needs to rescue him.
Ah, okay.
And the fun thing is at the end, Kyle is turned to the dark side a bit.
Yeah, I was going to get to that and ask that question because I know that in part of the lore, Kyle does turn dark and she helps him out, and then she also becomes like his temporary like apprentice as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's this story. But
Okay.
in order to, you get a boss fight basically against Katarn at the end.
Mhm.
But if you deactivate your lightsaber, you win.
Ah, there you go. I think that's kind of lends back to Return of the Jedi with that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. And yeah, so I like I said, I haven't played it and I know the lore, but sometimes like playing the games and stuff like that, there's other things that maybe I have missed or whatever. But like example with this game, I understand the arc between Mara Jade and Kyle Katarn. But I forget that it's linked to this game here. So pretty interesting.
There's yeah, almost everything called Katarn is linked to the games, but
Right.
the some YouTube channels do uh, almost like movie versions
Hmm.
of video games, so you could basically watch the story
Yeah.
if you can't play them. I'm not sure if they've done this for this one,
Hmm.
but I know they did it for The Witcher,
Okay.
the first one. So if
Hmm.
you don't want to play it or whatever, you could just watch that one and you get the whole story,
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
cutscenes and conversations, what have you.
I know. And it's just a shame that, we won't get the continuation of what happened with Janors and Kyle Katarn because of course the buyout and stuff.
Oh
So
no, that's not the buyout's fault.
mhm.
It was the
Oh,
guy in charge of Lucasfilm Games.
oh, yeah,
He
I
he,
remember
he
Lucasfilm
kept
Art.
canceling games. There
Yeah,
was several Jedi Knight games planned, but he just
yeah.
kept canceling them, which
Well,
is why Lucasfilm Games actually went belly up.
yeah, the Lucas Arts or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
LucasArts.
yeah, because I remember there was turmoil in there with some things going on, but I didn't realize that the rest of the story was being compromised from that. So yeah, so thanks for updating that for me because, like I said, I'm not very privy to the game side of Star Wars that much. I know that there was turmoil in there and that there was games that were, being pushed to the side or canceled or whatever for whatever reason and stuff. So
Yeah, Game Lore Dash has a really good video about
mhm.
all the canceled games, and there
Yeah,
were a lot.
I
Uh,
can imagine that, man. That
Probably
sucks.
20 or 30 games got canceled by that idiot.
Uh-huh. Wow. Talk about mismanagement. Yeah, there was, Lucasfilm even in the past wasn't perfect either, and there were some instances like I know like the first formation of Lucasfilm, I forgot his name now, but George Lucas brought in a head guy to help him out. And that then he wanted George, after the success of it, he wanted George to sell and sell stocks. I forgot. I did cover it before though. And George was like, no, this company is going to remain independent from all other places and stuff like that. So George ended up firing someone because of his viewpoints on how he wanted George to handle his company. So yeah. George was very much independent at one point. So it's kind of baffling just to see where it's gone with Star Wars today. It's kind of sad and ironic as well. So, what actress could have played Mara Jade? So that's the question. So who do you think, Stig? I really don't have a big opinion on that, really. Um,
Um, no, I had opinions about that 20 years ago, but
mhm.
now it's just if Disney does it, it's probably going to be Leslie Jones.
Rose Leslie would have done a great job, and I think I'm not sure. I think Tim Open Air Like Policy written an article about who would be who would be a good actress for her. I think he included that in that series he wrote for the expandeduniverse.com.
You know, given how Hollywood's doing things these days, I mean, they're not going to cast a redhead.
No,
They
they're
don't do that. I mean, they cast a Latina as Red Sonja.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Red Sonja, as
of all people,
named for her red hair, is being
Yeah.
played by a brunette.
Yeah, that is weird. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't have any. I would love to say, okay, this actor or this actress for whatever, for what ifs and stuff, and try to stay away from like the stigma and the atmosphere that's being created today. But in reality, if you really think about it with actresses and actors today, it's like you don't want to cast anybody in these beloved characters because the way and have these new these franchises that have these have bought out these IPs, these the corporates that bought out the IPs to even head the project. Really, no.
Chaos Man has something to say about Maul and Talon. Lucas, yeah, this is true. Lucas was interested in having Darth Talon in the sequel trilogy that he was writing, but you know what? He spoke to other people at Lucasfilm, and they said she doesn't belong in that era.
Yeah.
And you know what he did? He rewrote it without Darth Talon in it because it didn't fit the EU. Literally did that. But it's not canon, right?
Yeah. And you know what the thing is? It's like it's he's just throwing out ideas, and that's what these treatments are, is just ideas. We have, if you go back and look at the treatments for the original Star Wars, it's nothing compared to what we got on screen.
No, you go through several drafts if you're writing a story.
Exactly. Exactly. And names change and all that. And people don't realize that. And they think that these treatments, these ideas are set in stone and what, he wanted. And that's not the truth, because like I said, the OT, basically the PT may not as much because, the OT was already crafting the PT and that, but, and he had ideas with it. But the OT in general and the original Star Wars under, his ideas and stuff like that is not the same as what we see in the movies, because it went through plenty of ideas and brainstorming and all that to come up with what we have today.
Yeah,
so,
it's R.A. Salvatore's novels about the Dark Elves and all that. The first book, when he started, he was going to write a series about the barbarian character that's in them. His name is Wolfgar. And then he realized, shit, this Dark Elf is way more cool and interesting. So he changed it, and it became about the Dark Elf instead. And things change.
They do.
What's that?
Yeah. And then Darius Munchausen, hello, OG Stars. Hello, how are you doing? And those just popping in, what are you guys enjoying? What beverage are you enjoying? This is Coffee Chat because it's 9 a.m. where I'm at. So I have a nice hot cup of coffee in a rose mug that I have like little roses on it and stuff. So what are you enjoying this morning, or afternoon, or evening? And Jedi Padawan Trela, it's totally cool to use an actor that fits the spirit of the character, unless it is a pre-existing character from something like video games or history movies. So there we go. And then, all right. So coffee. All right. So let's get into this. So, Mean Stig has always been, contemplating that she could possibly be a descendant of the Shans from the Old Republic and stuff. And she's a very unique character. Like I said, from last Thursday, she's got these confidence issues that have been placed into her by her father, because her father was basically like, wanted a son, didn't get a son, so he was very harsh to her, very verbal abusive from what we've seen from last week's comics, and that really put a negative mindset in her mind about who she is and what she can do and what she can accomplish. And like Stig said, daddy issues, right? So let me see, let me go ahead and try to zoom in just a little bit bigger on this. So there we go. And there we go. All right. So this is part 2 of Small Victories. And so they're now infiltrating the base, even though we just seen, that they expect them to come in, I guess you could say. So the Alliance flagship designated Home 1, location a secret rebel rendezvous point at Zeri system. 6 hours have passed since contact with Princess Leia cruiser was lost. Long hours spent carefully retracing retracing hyperspace routes, desperately searching for any sign of their missing comrades. So we know that.
Oh, remember when they had hyperspace routes?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you could just leap anywhere you want to go, right? Without any worry or consequences or anything.
Even within the gravity of a planet.
Right. Exactly.
Hello, Rogue One.
I know, and it's so funny how, it was like, that's the best Star Wars, Disney Star Wars movies ever, and they're ignoring like these continuity issues.
The best Disney Star Wars movie ever made, and it contradicts the whole damn saga.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that was possible, then the blockade at Naboo would never have worked.
Exactly.
And the whole story falls apart because of Rogue One.
Yep. Exactly, on both ends, the PT and and the OT.
If it was possible to make hyperspace jumps within the gravity of a planet, then Qui-Gon and Kenobi would have never found Anakin.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we have so this is Home 1, but they're trying to figure out where Leia and them jumped to, because like I said, they what's his name? Jared Soul, or whatever his name is, the one that was taken captive and mind tortured. He, at the end of his life, he realized how wrong he was and he was trying to fight this like brainwashed kind of mindset he was going. And so what he did is, to last desperate issue to save Leia and them, is that he put in random coordinates for them to go into hyperspace, which is very, very risky at that. Because the Imperials did have their code sequences that they used. So they had to do something different. He was desperate. And so that led them to find that fueling station of the Empires. And now they're planning on destroying it, because then that would clear more space for them to travel and stuff, because, they keep track. That's another tracking, I guess you could say, base of the Imperials as well. So that clears up.
It's basically like a surveillance station, like a space radar-ish thing.
Yeah, exactly. And so that helps them out in the long run. So here we have
if only they have had tracking fobs.
Yeah, if they had that, they would just been able to find them like crazy, huh? They would just make, oh, they're here, let's just follow them here. And they reintroduce them. So that's a thing. So it kind of breaks their own continuity later on. And even breaks the OT continuity as well. So until we find out, or they find out, because I can care less about that shit. But anyways, so they're worried about where Leia and them can be. Akbar says, anything yet? And then they say, nothing, Admiral. All of the other ships have checked in and are awaiting our order to jump. And then he goes, they'll have to keep waiting. We're not leaving until Rebel 1 is accounted for. So Rebel 1 is basically Leia's ship, or the ship that she's on, the main ship. So they have no clue where they're at right now. And
that guy looks like he is constipated.
Yeah, he does. Like I said, this art is not bad, but then it's not good either. Akbar's face kind of looks like one side of his face is melting. Yep. And
looks like he's hit a wall.
Yeah, and so it's not bad, it's not good, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. But like, there's some instances where there's shading of like Luke's face, and we'll come to it in this one, I believe, where it looks like there shouldn't be shading at all, because the saber is right in front of his face and it looks just terrible. So yeah, and then so they go on to say, we can't stick around too long, Admiral. Even though we haven't seen any Imperial patrols out there, I don't trust that our old safe points are all that safe anymore. So they're very doubtful on that. and that they have to make these big decisions and stuff. But what would you suggest we do, Lieutenant Pillard? And he goes, jump at the first shadow and abandon Skywalker and Princess Leia to the Emperor. And then he goes on to say, because that's exactly what we'd be doing if we moved the fleet before they arrive. Without having the coordinates of the next hyperspace jump, they won't begin to know where to look for us. And he goes, I am not arguing that with you, and I'm not, and I don't like that any, and my voice is going on. There we go. That any that arguing with you, and I don't like this any more than you do. So they're conflicted here, as intended, as expected. But we have a group of ships out there running low on fuel, filled with people who just been put through hell. Oh, so we're low on fuel here. So is this where Rian Johnson got his idea? I'm just saying. But anyways, we know that they were going to try to fuel up from that station as well, but I forget if they decided not to and find other ships to escape and blow up the station. I'm not sure yet. I forgot that. So if you were here last Thursday, please remind me. So here we go. As important as Skywalker and others are to the cause, right now, our priority should be keeping this fleet safe and protected. And he has a point there. So what do you think, Stig? We know that they can't die, right? We already know that because this is between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. But he does have a point. So
yeah, can't sacrifice everyone for two people.
Exactly. And then he goes, we've lost so much already. I'm not sure we can afford to lose any more. And so you could see Akbar. Now, this is not a bad picture of Akbar. And I think it's a really good expression of him feeling conflicted about that.
It makes you wonder why his face is flat in the previous one, right?
Right. And then he goes, so here comes, and I forget her name, the one with the blue mark on the side of her face. We talked about her before in the previous comics.
Yeah. I keep forgetting her every damn time, but she's kind of cool.
Yeah, she is.
But she's one of the abandoned characters after the takeover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sure she was going to be fleshed out more, and probably she was going to die during the rebellion.
Yeah. Like a heroic death or something.
Yeah. But we'll never know.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Dantles or something? Dantle?
Daniel, not Daniel, of course. Dantle. I forget now. Anybody in the chat? Where's the EU comic people here? Let us know. I do have people jumping in here too. So if you guys are joining, sit back, grab some coffee or tea or whatever beverage you want and enjoy the ride. And so she comes up and says, sir, you have to see this. And then let me go ahead and scroll on here. We just received a message from Rebel One, encrypted to the highest security level.
Which in Disney canon, if you want access to the highest security level of the Empire, all you need to do is scan your face like the Mando did.
Right? That was such a disconnect.
Prove you have a face.
Right. So that's such a huge disconnect. And so she says, we have, I already said that one. So they're receiving a message from them. It's from Tungo Lee. So that's that guy I don't like. That's that guy that, like I said, looks like a cross between a human and Yoda species. And I don't like him. And he's right there in the corner there.
Yeah, it looks evil.
Yeah, he looks, I just don't care for him. Ugh. No. Anyway, this is his message. Home One, I pray this reaches you before you come searching for us. Unfortunately, I have no time to explain our situation, only to say fate has stranded us near Bannister Station. That's the name. And we are carrying out a strike against it. If we are successful, the fall of the Bannister will be broadcasted across all monitored Imperial channels. The rebellion will have plunged a dagger into the Emperor's heart. And then so she says no. And then whatever the results know that our situation is too dangerous for you to come to our aid. Our paths are chosen. Do not send a search party. Do not attempt rescue. In all likelihood, by the time this reaches you, we will have already be dead. There you go.
Oh, and the station.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like that in a lot of the video games too.
Mm-hmm.
Space station and fueling stations and the like.
Yeah.
So they're sticking to the look.
Yeah, the continuity of the structure and stuff.
Yep.
Very good. I like hearing that. That's fun. And then let's see here. Move on here. I'm trying to keep this more so people can kind of see it, because even when I have it to where everything
it's Dantles.
Dantles? Okay,
Yeah.
Dantles. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Hey, you remembered. I didn't. I was like, I know her name is unique. So there we go. And so they're like conflicted with the situation here. And who is this hooded person right here? These hooded people right here. I don't know. Anyways, and so they're conflicted with this information they got in, and says, blast it. How quickly can we get Red Squadron back from their recon? And then she goes on to say, the Starduster's ready to go now. My ship can reach Bannister before. And then Akbar tells her no. And she's like, what? And then Akbar proceeds to say, you're staying grounded, Dantles. And then so she's not very happy about that. Look at her face. And that's a good expression. Like I said, this can go back and forth with the features of the faces and stuff and how they do expressions. After all we've been through, our fleet is unprepared to charge headlong into enemy territory. So, and then he goes on to say, she says, I can't believe what I'm hearing. This is Luke and Leia we're talking about. If you're not willing to do everything in your power to save them, I'll do it myself. So Dantles is like, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go save them. I'm going to rush over there. And then so she's told Dantles, wait. And then he goes on to say, he said, our fleet was unprepared to move on Bannister. So he's trying to set her straight, trying to put reason into her mind, but she wants to just rush off, just kind of like what Luke did when he was in Empire Strikes Back, rushing off, So now we're at Bannister Station right here, and they're infiltrating. So they left the ship with their in their suits. So so they suited up so they can survive the vacuum of space, and they made their way to the base and infiltrated. While that guy Tung Li or whatever his name is stayed on Home One, and so that it can explode, or so he could follow with his plan. He's the one who's sacrificing himself. So, and this has a lot of resemblance in a way. I'm just saying, just in a way, not exactly to what it seemed like Rian Johnson was trying to do. And then with some situations in the movie. And so meanwhile, half a galaxy away, Luke Skywalker and his small band of rebel saboteurs attempt the impossible. For some, it's yet another in a series of death-defying attacks on the Empire. And Luke says, I stay close. We're almost there. And then we have Dina right here. She's like, great. And then, but for all, Dina Shan just hopes to survive the night. This goes back to her personality, because she has no self-worth and stuff, or that she feels that she's not as worthy as others, and she's comparing herself to others and not seeing her for who she is and stuff, that she can accomplish things in her own way. So there we go. And then Leia, do you copy? And then Leia says, I hear you, Luke. Are you inside? And he
That's
goes,
what she said.
Almost so far, so good. Wow, you derailed that quick. Took the opportunity and went for it. All right. And so Leia goes on, or Luke says, no stormtroopers in sight. And she says, copy that. We haven't seen any either. And that makes me a little nervous.
Well, to be fair, how many stormtroopers would you see on that wall?
Yeah, right. They're still,
yeah, there's nobody climbing around here.
Yeah, there's no one climbing around here. There's none, so there we go. And we don't have time to worry about it, though. Proceed with the mission and call me when you're clear, and copy Skywalker out. So again, they're infiltrating. Like I said, they're gonna basically place special bombs. They're gonna place and have that facility at least explode one tank, which will start a chain reaction with the others because there's so much fuel there. That's the mission there. So, how's it coming, Abel? This ought to do it. When these detonators go, the chain reaction should travel along the fuel lines and bring this whole platform down. I don't want to be here when it does. Well, yeah, obviously. So we're seeing them in action here. And this, why are you yellow? Quit being yellow. There we go. All right, Basso, how's our ride coming? So they're gonna try to infiltrate and get a couple of ships so they have a way out. They know it's risky. They know that they may not be able to make it out, but they want to be able to make it out. Can't talk now, princess. So that was Leia. We're inside. All systems are go. And then she says, don't call us. We'll call you Basso out. So that's him telling her that. Your Highness, we have a serious problem. These tanks are empty. Wow. But still, okay. If it's fuel and it's combustible, even like the leftover residue and the gas from it should be able to make it explode still, right? You would think some kind of reaction with that. Not as probably as impactful as if it was actual fuel.
I don't know about that. They need to find a fuller tank, I think.
Yeah.
Because you need a big explosion to set it off, not just a little flash, right?
Yeah. But still, like, there should be some residue in there that would still be able to ignite it. But I mean, the more fuel you have, the bigger the explosion. I get that too. All right. So let's see here. I was having trouble pinging through. I thought it was just because the plating was so thick, but these babies are bone dry. Okay, that's a huge problem. And then he goes on, all of the rot and all the tanks on the stations, and we pick the ones waiting for a fuel up. And so she says, so what does that mean? He goes, it's not a disaster, but it's close enough. And then he goes on to say, everyone, retrieve your detonators. If we're going to hit another tank, we need to hustle. And then all of a sudden, we have, looks like he was shot or something went off. And he's like, ah. So let's see what happens with that. Then we have the stormtroopers here that they were like, there's no stormtroopers. And here we go. So they're getting shot at right there from where they're at. So the shooting looks like they're shooting down at Leia and what's his name, Basso or whatever his name is. And so they're receiving fire right now, and it doesn't look good, but we'll see what happens. And he says, "You down there, drop your weapons, or we drop you."
Smart thinking by the stormtrooper.
And then bring them up. So basically, they're pulling them up on their lines, their own lines. Oh my goodness! And then meanwhile, at the same time. And then Dina says, wait, did you hear that? Sounded like blaster fire. And Leia and others might be in trouble. Yeah, Luke, they are. And so they look behind them. They're not the only ones. Lower your weapons. And then we have someone saying, but, and then hang back, Luke. Let us take this. So, yeah, they're, like I said, they expected them to infiltrate. And hello, Orange Chat Review. How are you doing? how is everyone doing there in chat as well? You guys, hello all who just entered. Yes, thank you so much. And thank you guys for hanging out with us this morning. I appreciate it. All right. So basically the Imperials knew that they were going to be infiltrated by the rebels. And so they planned for it as well. That was what was indicated in the last comic. And then so the stormtrooper says neither of them is Skywalker. Oh yeah, and they were told kill everybody except for Leia and Luke. That's their orders. Well, you're right about that, but let's not do anything rash. So there you go. So they're trying to say, hey, we're not who you think we are, but please don't do anything rash. And then so they're receiving fire, or they're hearing the fire. And Dina says, they're killing them. And then Luke says, Dina, that door, get ready to go for it. And then, so we have the stormtrooper saying, leave the one called Skywalker alive, kill the rest. And
Luke has a stroke.
That's the picture I'm talking about. Okay, so here we go. It
looks dreadful.
It does. I was going to share this on Twitter when I was going through this. And I was like, I'll just wait for when we review it. Okay, so the lightsaber casts light, right? And so his face shouldn't have the shadowing it has there. Mind you, yes, we're going to see like little shadowing in like areas of the face naturally, right? But his face, just like his armor or his suit or his it's all lit up. Why isn't his face lit up? Why is his face shadowed like that? It looks terrible. It looks awful. A 4-stroke. There we go. It looks awful. I'm going to zoom in on that shit. Let me see here. Zoom. All right. So there we go. So there you
go. That's Luke Skywalker's sex face.
Oh, I don't even want to know what his sex. God, I hope that it's not for Mara's.
That's what Mara saw.
Oh my God.
This is what gave birth to Ben Skywalker.
Oh my God. That is terrible. But yes, that is terrible. Look at that. So like you could see like the light, like even the aura of the saber going around both of them for whatever reason. They're both lit up. Her face is lit up, but look at his face. Look at that. That's just terrible.
It looks like something out of that old comic Jonah Hex?
Yeah.
Which was kind of like a sci-fi-ish Western kind of thing.
Yeah.
It looks like a character from that.
Oh boy. Fuck Norris says, I'm going to use that face next time. And like I said, when I was reviewing this comic a couple of days ago, I was like, should I share this on Twitter? And then I was like, no, we'll just talk about it on Coffee Chat. First of all, it's terrible. It's not very good art. Second, I don't want to give like these naysayers any reason to say, oh, it's so bad. Look at Luke's face, blah, 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 that kind of thing. I do agree. The comic, the art is bad, but not the story and not what's going on here. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. It is terrible. Yeah, so not a very good choice of like how to use light and shadowing in art right here.
It's weird though, because the top left picture is great.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And then we have this, like, look at Sean's face. It's like she's stuck it in her bottom lip here as well.
It looks like Luke is starting to grow a beard as he lights the lightsaber or something.
He almost looks like, and I'm not saying this is bad art when it comes to Cade Skywalker, but this almost looks like a Cade Skywalker face, but done in a bad way still. And hello, Metalon. How are you doing? Yeah, so it's, like I said, this is not the best, but it's not the worst, but there are moments of bad art in here. We have
a lot of the old Star Wars comics have shit art.
Yeah.
But the great comics and all that, they have fantastic art. The Clone Wars comics, and you have the legacy ones. So
Yeah, Jan
it's
with
kind of like they spend more money on some comic series than others.
yeah, Jan and the team that did those, great, awesome. So Jan Durasana is basically, and I think I said her last name wrong, and I apologize. Like with the Republic comics and Legacy, yes, great stuff, great stuff. So he's using his saber, and basically, blocking the blaster bolts and stuff. He's been learning that. We already seen that. And then she's looks like she's punching something in, and she's like, come on, she's like in panic here, like trying, very serious kind of like determination and stuff. Luke, I got it. Come on. So he's in the middle of the stormtroopers here. They don't want to kill him, but he plants his lightsaber right through the armor here. Right. I got it. Now what?
Which is kind of like a stupid thing. You see that meme, stormtroopers can't hit.
Yeah.
That's from A New Hope when they don't hit Han and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the people who kind of meme that and think it's accurate,
Mm-hmm.
the stormtroopers were told not to kill them,
right,
and to let them escape. They're missing on purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, Leia says it, Tarkin and Vader says it in their conversation, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the fact that when someone makes a meme out of that, you can tell the person's a dumbass.
You have not been letting loose on all this lately whatsoever. I've noticed. You're like, you're just an idiot. You're a dumbass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically she beckons him to come with her, that she's got the code in, and she's also now taking cover for him. Right. I got it. And then, what are you doing? So basically that's what he's down here sabotaging the pad here. And so she's asking him, what is he doing? Obviously he is basically making sure they can't come through again. Dina, you have to see the mission through. So there we go. So he's locking himself in there. She's already gone through. He's sabotaging the pad here. It's funny how, and I noticed this, and I'm going to go there right now, is that in the Book of Boba Fett, she basically, penetrates the pad for the door, and it opens like it's like she's picking a lock. But when you see in the lore here, when you do that, that disables everything, so you can't use it anymore. So what is it?
You even see it in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Luke and Leia shoot the lock.
Right.
That disables it. Because, you ruin it.
Yeah. But she goes in and punctures it, and it makes it open, or whatever. So it makes no sense. That didn't make sense to me whatsoever.
It's almost as if Filoni is anti-Lucas.
Mm-hmm. And then, so he tells her, find the cooling substation and disable it. I'll draw their fire. And then so it disables it, and it still leaves the door slightly open. It doesn't open the doors. It's either, if it's, it usually shuts it and then it locks it down out of safety because someone messed with the keypad, or it gets stuck like this. And she's like, wait, I can't do it by myself. And she's like, Luke, no, don't leave me alone. So again, there's the issues right there that we've been, seeing, and why she acts and responds the way she does. Set blasters for stun. So they have orders not to kill him. So now they're going to just stun him, or try to. And so there we go. So they do hit him. And he's like, that's it, Skywalker. Wake up. We can't get started without you. So they have him now. And I don't think you'll want to miss this. So they stun him. He goes black. He starts waking up. He's tied up now. And then, and so now they're going to probably start questioning him and stuff like that. And then, so they have another one here, and they're like, he goes, are you okay, sir? And he goes, I will be. So they have Luke right now. They don't want him dead. And then Metalong says that he is driving while he's listening in. Thank you so much. Drive safe. I appreciate it. I do that too sometimes. I'll tune into a live stream that I've been interested in and wanting to listen to. And then the Black Chosen Orc is here. Hail all. Hello, how are you doing, Poet Scotty? I'm glad you guys are here, or you are here. Everyone's here. Thank you guys so much. All right. And so once we're finished with this part 2, we're not going through 2 of them today. We're going to just, have fun and talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi. We hear stories about you rebels, even all the way out there, about how your desperation drives you to commit bold acts against our empire, about how that desperation makes you dangerous. So he's holding on to the lightsaber here and talking, but I have to say I'm not impressed. We were on your amateur espionage attempt the moment we detected your ship, but while fortune hasn't favored you, luck is on my side today, because I know who you are. I know how vulnerable you are to the rebellion, and in turn how badly the empire wants, or the emperor wants you. So he's like, man, I want to kill you so much. This is what I'm getting from him. I want to kill you so much because how valuable you are, but I also know the emperor wants you. I've been trying to get transferred off the station for months to prove that I should be in charge of my own Star Destroyer. You two are my tickets off this cold rock. Oh, so he has his own goals, I guess you can say. And so Leia says, that's really interesting. Are you finished? And he's all, hardly. So I didn't realize that was her in this other picture here. There it is down here. I didn't realize that was her. It looked like someone else. So that's Leia. Okay, let's move on. And so they have both of them. It says, I don't like this, Devox. The longer you want to report, or the longer you want to you wait to report this, the riskier it gets. He goes, wait, or what it is it Rishk? Is that what Rishik? Yeah, Rishik. Worried that if investigators from Imperial Center arrive, they'll make you cut your hair. And he's like, funny. So they're insulting each other. We killed another rebel team that was infiltrating our hangar, but we don't know how many more are still roaming loose. I say we execute them and be done with it. And he's all, that's out of question. He's like, fine, let's try another way. There was another one with you, a girl. Who is she? So he's strangling Luke right there and he's strangling him, and he wants to ask him a question, but he can't really talk. Finally, he lets go. Are you going to say something?
No, I just came back. I was muted.
Oh, okay. All right. She's no one. Her orders were to get off the station if any of us were compromised and to bring back forces to rescue us. She's long gone by now. And so they're all standing around Luke right here. And he's, of course, tied up to the chair. And he basically calls his bluff. He's lying. And then his commanding officer says, perhaps, as you said, you don't like taking risks. So let's see here what they're going to do. Or that haircut will start at your neck. And so right here, so here's Dina Shawn. She's sitting here crying, like sob. I'm like, that's not, and I know I'm like, girl, get over it. And so now I think we're going to get in her thoughts and what's going on here. In training, you're taught to hope for the best, but plan for the worst. It's just a funny thing, a real crack up. Just a few short hours ago, Dina's hope was that by joining Luke Skywalker on this mission, she'd rediscover her own inner courage. Bravery by osmosis. Just stick close to the farm boy and everything will be fine. This is all his fault anyway. If he'd have let her leave like she wanted to, no, she got herself into this. Anger is a step up from despair, but getting mad at Luke won't help anyone. Put that frustration and adrenaline to use. It's just one engineer. He's probably not even armed. So she's struggling with her own emotions again. We get in depth of why she, in the past, from why she is the way she is. One step at a time, Dina, just like dear old dad used to say. But he was right. It's only overwhelming when you try to take in the whole picture at once. Break it down into smaller parts. Maybe it's not so impossible after all. So she basically blasts him from behind. Maybe she can actually pull this off. All she has to do is disable the station's fire retardant system, then locate the signal and single-handedly save her friends. Then evade about 1,000,000 stormtroopers. So she's doing what she needs to do there. Then find Basso's escape shuttle and save the day. So there we go. So she's talking her way through that, trying to overcome her own negative self-talk here and just stay with the mission, stay on focus.
Character growth.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Yep. Character growth right there. And she's like, shouldn't be a problem at all. So there we go. And yet, desperate, despite her apprehension, Dina is able to make progress. Deactivating the station's fire safeties is surprisingly easy. System deactivated, it says. Rapidly scanning the station mainframe database, she discovers where Luke and Leia are being held, along with another more alarming revelation. Wait, what? And then it goes on to say, in response to its loss at the Battle of Yavin, the Empire has marshaling his forces, preparing for a massive attack on a civilian target. Wow. Okay. And then a preemptive strike against a population it suspects as harboring Alliance assets, are which it believes to be breeding grounds for rebel sentiment. A charge intended to permanently silence the growing rebellion. And suddenly, the big picture becomes more than Dina can even fathom. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see what's going on here. Is anyone reading this? Is anyone still alive? Basso. So that's Basso talking to her. Basso, that you? In the charred flesh, the imps think they got me, though, and I'd like to keep it that way. And then he goes on to say, I got us a ride. Can you find Leia and others? And she proceeds to say, they're in the command center at the top of the station, but listen, there's something else. And then he goes on to say, we don't have time for anything else. Now round up the others and meet me up top. We must still have a chance at this. And then he goes on to say, but I don't think I can do this alone, Basso. Or she says that, can you come find me? No, can do, Dina. You're on your own. Skywalker brought you along because he believed you were capable of doing what needed to be done. It's time to prove it. So there we go. So he puts those harsh words of reality into her head. Hello, Keck44. How are you doing? Yeah, all right. I'll see you there. So now she's like crippling herself again in her self-doubt. So I am very interested, and I'm not going to say anything of what she discovered yet, but I can't wait to get there. You're not a danger at all. You are just a mouse. And so basically he tells that to her. And weak, scared little mouse. And she's like, duh, it looks like you flicked her in the head or something. And then, but that's okay, because I am Panther, I am a mean, hungry Panther. For whatever reason, your friends are of value to the Empire, but not you. With you, I am free to do as please. And before go ahead.
I wish she hadn't said panther, because that's like an Earth animal. Should have said something more Star Wars-ish.
Yeah.
Little nitpick.
Yeah, little nitpick. Yeah, but I get it, because it kind of takes you out of there, because like, oh, they have Panthers there now, like whatever.
Yeah, and, they probably do, but it's not really it should have said something else.
Yeah. And then he goes on to say, and before you die, I want to play a little. Wow. And there we go. So this is the end of this one here. We will continue. Maybe we'll do 3 and 4 because this is a 4-part series, and do them back to back. Or maybe we will do one at a time like I've been doing and then have Star Wars discussion here. So anybody in the chat wants or has a question about this comic or wants to point out anything they see that they liked or maybe didn't like, go ahead and share. Now, Stig, so far, because I know you read this and so you're now remembering from what you read. So what do you think about this so far?
Well, it's a good comic, and spoiler, it ends well. It has a good ending.
Yeah.
Really well written, and 50% of it is good artwork.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
One
or
of those,
or other 50% of the artwork is good. That's what I meant.
yeah, I got what you're saying there.
It's a bit all over the place, which is weird.
Yeah. It's like they I think there was two pencilers on this one here, I believe. But don't hold me to it.
One of the pencilers had Parkinson.
That's not nice to say. Oh my god. But yeah, so I mean Dina Shawn is very interesting. We do see character arc growth here going on. We see moments of self-doubt and then moments of triumph, and her working through those negative thoughts, and then people coming in to feed into those negative thoughts, to give her doubt so that she doesn't triumph over them. So we see that going back and forth, like this mental game, basically self mental game, and then outer from the enemy mental game going on. And I think that plays well to her development here. So very good. All right. So it looks like Lady Toriel is going to get going here. I know she works late, and so it's probably about bedtime for her. Good journey, everyone, and you have a good sleep if you're heading into bed. Yeah. So this is very, very fun right here. I can't wait to finish this with you guys and further discuss the whole thing in its entirety as well. So you have any more thoughts about that one before we move on, Stig?
No, not really.
Okay.
Halfway through it, so.
Yeah, exactly. So what I wanted to touch on before we conclude coffee chat is discuss Obi-Wan Kenobi a little bit. So I know that, Obi-Wan Kenobi is your favorite character. You use his image as your avatar. So if you want to,
Well, it's not necessarily my favorite character, to be honest.
Okay.
It's just, it just ended up being the avatar.
Okay. So you want to share anything that you like, what you like about the character to get this going?
Well, what I liked about the character was he was a classic knight,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. All right. Do you have any moments you liked, like special moments, or any of his moments that you really, really liked or that impressed you? Like, what was your favorite moments?
Well, it's kind of like my favorite part of the Star Wars movies is from when Luke looks at the binary sunset and until they leave Mos Eisley.
Okay.
So that area there, because it's a lot of exposition.
Yeah.
And Alec Guinness explaining about the Force and all that. That's probably my favorite Star Wars.
Wow. Okay.
Area.
Yeah. All right. That's cool, because you know what? Like those, I wouldn't exactly, well, they could say they're quiet moments, but those quiet moments that George put in to the lore, where it's not like all flashy and all like just like, starfighters and fighting and lightsabers and stuff. Those gave the most depth to the story, because we got to see the characters interact and discuss, about what's going on and what's to be expected, past and present kind of deal, without resorting to these flashbacks of and I think that it offered a lot of depth to the scenes.
Yeah. And I remember the first time I saw it too. And I watched A New Hope after episode 5 and 6.
Right.
Because back in the day, you had to, rent it at a video store or something, right? Or, watch it on TV.
Yeah.
but they just never showed it on TV for some reason. And every time I wanted to rent it at a video store, it was rented out.
Yeah.
So when I finally watched it, it had finally been aired on TV, and I had recorded it, but it
Yeah.
was on late, and I had a school. This is a school
Mhm.
day the day after,
Yeah.
so uh, I set the VCR to record it, and
Yes.
I got up. Um, I think it was 2 hours before I had to go to school. Got up
Uh-huh.
early just to watch the movie,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, remember it was summer, early '90s, and
Mhm.
I was my head was just filled with that movie all through the school day.
Wow.
Um, I was not a good student that day.
You just have to kept remembering, talking, all of that. Awesome. So now, okay, because we our first impression of Obi-Wan Kenobi was through Alex Guinness, so we Alec Guinness, and so that and he portrayed Obi-Wan Kenobi or Ben Kenobi really, really well. So what did you think about Ewan McGregor's interpretation? Because I know he researched and he really got into the study of how Alec portrayed him.
Oh,
Um,
he nailed it.
right. Okay. Yeah. He like his research, his study and stuff lent to a lot of respect for that character that came before him. And I think that was a good example of bringing an old and young Obi-Wan Kenobi to light with using different characters, different or not characters, different actors. Because I don't think that anyone can match that anymore. Like if we would see someone recasted for young Luke Skywalker, I don't think we'll see that much attention and detail and embracing the character as Ewan McGregor did when it came to Alec Guinness portrayal of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think that was one of those things that we rarely see anymore, and I don't think we'll get that again. So
Well, it's because back then they hired actual actors instead of diversity hires.
mm-hmm.
So you got people that knew their job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And that could be it too. Right now the focus is on making sure that there's diversity points, and that's the main focus. Um and it really does storytelling a discredit in the long run. And so that's a sad state we're in right now. And that's another reason why I don't think that we'll get a good young Han Solo. Um I don't think that what was his name again? From Solo, the Star
Oh,
Wars movie.
Aaron, right?
Yeah, I don't think that he did really well, giving us a young
No.
Solo.
You know what? I watched that movie,
Uh-huh.
and I never once believed Aaron Reich was Han Solo. Han
Right.
Solo is Harrison Ford.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but if you remove all the everything related to Star Wars from that movie,
Yeah.
it's actually an okay heist movie.
Mm.
But it's holy crap though. They were contradicting the movies left and right. Even their own stuff. They contradicted
Yeah.
Rebels. I mean, they actually free the Wookiee slaves in
Uh,
Rebels
mm-hmm.
from Kessel.
Yeah.
And when they go there, there's no space storms at Kessel at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes place around the same time too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I
I guess the weather in space had cleared up.
yeah, the nebulas or whatever you want to call what's going on in there. Yeah, I never fully got into Rebels. I only did like watched some things and research, but then that's it. So,
Oh,
uh,
Rebels actually makes the sequel trilogy look smart. It's that damn dumb.
oh yeah, I don't doubt that whatsoever. I don't
You
whatsoever.
have
So,
you have hyperspace whales. You have inflatable pigs. You have helicopter lightsabers. You have grenades, ion grenades that disables everything except the friendly ship next to it. It's
okay.
like, yeah, intelligent grenades. And the
Yeah.
TIE fighters have life support.
Oh my God, that's
That's where it
crazy.
started. It didn't start with the sequel trilogy. It started with Rebels.
Oh, I wonder who did Rebels.
Yeah, that retard that's supposed to save Star Wars.
Right. All right. So Chaos Man 17 says, I'm not interested in Obi-Wan's show. Give what Luke will be and what Kenobi does will not matter. Also,
No.
Vader fight Obi-Wan before episode breaks the lore. I agree. And I stand on that because, that's George's intentions. That's what he based on their last duel in A New Hope versus their first duel of Anakin going to the dark side and against Obi-Wan on Mustafar. Those were the only two. He played those two off of each other and were only supposed to be the first and last duel. That was evidence even before Disney took over on the franchise, right? I knew that without even having it being explained.
What the hell's going to happen in that fight, though? Vader's not going to get killed. Neither is Kenobi.
Yeah, and
Kenobi's
then Vader
not going to lose a
know.
limb or anything.
Yeah, and then Vader will know that he's alive, and then you would think, okay, he'll be searching for him like crazy because that's his master. Despite what the Emperor would say, leave him alone. That's his master. He wants him dead. That's apparent.
Oh yeah,
he
and
wants him dead.
like it was said in the chat. It's like it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happens in this series doesn't matter one bit. It's not going to impact anything because in Disney canon, Rey Palpatine destroyed the Sith. Ergo, she is the chosen one because the chosen one was to destroy the Sith, not set the Sith back 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So Anakin and Kenobi in Disney canon, even Yoda really make they're completely irrelevant.
Yeah,
because it didn't stop Palpatine at all.
Yeah. And Soul Assassin said, this is where the EU elites hang out. Yes, it is. Welcome. And sorry for my tardiness. Work meeting took forever. That's okay. Understandable.
EU elitist is pretty much someone who basically just pays attention while watching the movies.
Right.
The EU is actually irrelevant.
And then Phil, Solo was a fun movie, but an Star Wars movie. Most annoying part was the droid. Yeah, and the thing. So we're gonna go back to talking about Kenobi, or Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we all agree that Ewan McGregor really did well on giving us a young Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we know that he did his homework. That's even evidence, when you watch behind the scenes of the PT and them talking about that. And my favorite moment with Obi-Wan Kenobi in the OT, let's see here, because it's only one movie that he's in, of course, obviously, and it's Star Wars, and now known as A New Hope, is basically, maybe I can agree with you. It's him talking and discussing with Luke about the Jedi, his father, and all of that quiet moment of reflecting, letting us know what he's been through, what his father's been through, calling Luke to action. And I think that's one of the most pivotal ones when it comes to Luke is, because you get the hero's journey, right? And you get that call to action, and then him denying, then to being forced into that action. So, he, Obi-Wan, or Ben, is the catalyst to Luke, and we learn and we find out more of his relationship with Luke's father as we get into Star Wars, as we get into the PT and stuff. Now, Stig, what is your favorite EU moment with Kenobi? And, from what you read, because we all have our own, what we read and what we haven't read kind of situation. It's
probably the Kenobi novel.
Okay.
That is an excellent novel by its own,
Yeah.
All you have to do is watch the prequels and then read the novel. We could actually stop there, basically. But it was so well written, and it was different. Yeah. It was like more psychological.
Yes.
Than action heavy. There's not a lot of action in it.
Yeah.
It's basically kind of like The Unforgiven. with Clint
Mm-hmm.
Eastwood, but it's set in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I would agree that with that, but like one of the moments I really liked was in Dark Lord Rise of Darth Vader, and that was the epilogue. And where we have Obi-Wan Kenobi on Tatooine, and he's sitting at a cantina, the balcony, and in Mos Eisley, I believe, and he's Luke is with the Lars, and they're shopping, and Ben's watching out, and he's having water and stuff, and they have the holocron up above them, and the holocron news up above them, and they start discussing Darth Vader. And we know that Obi-Wan Kenobi knows the name Darth Vader because he's seen Anakin pledge himself.
Yeah, I saw the holovid.
Mm-hmm. And then so he starts almost like flipping out, and he's like, no, it can't be. Because at that time, he didn't know. He thought he had left Anakin to die. And let the Force, basically, he thought he left him to die and let the Force, make its way with it. And so finding out and discovering, and his reaction, and how he's like, no, it's just heat stroke. Get the man some water, kind of deal. And him realizing and finally drinking some water and leaving, and hearing Qui-Gon's voice, and he's like, oh crap, everybody could see me. So he goes into like a small little alleyway, and and then Qui-Gon was telling him, what is left of Anakin, Vader does not want to, basically have come forward, so he will never set foot on Tatooine, blah, 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 basically saying that they're safe, Luke is safe, and that you just reassuring him and letting him know that sticking with the plan of exile and protecting Luke and stuff like that is more beneficial than trying to leave the planet, which we know that he's going to leave the planet in the new series coming out. So Qui-Gon, basically his Force Ghost, lets Obi-Wan know to stay put, that everything will be okay.
Yeah,
So
I bet you Kenobi is gonna be he's gonna find Baby Yoda somewhere, and he's gonna save Baby Yoda and send him away, or something like that. Him and Leia, I don't know, but I bet you they're gonna have Ahsoka or Baby Yoda in there because they want to sell the toys.
Yeah, that's all that's about. Is it selling toys? That's what I got from that.
Is also, I hope they explain why Jedi Master Kenobi can't do force healing like the toddler Baby Yoda can. Because he's obviously learned that very easy. Well, force healing has to be easy. I mean, Baby Yoda learned it before he could talk.
Right.
Or before he learned to wipe his ass.
Right, because we do see Kenobi, or Ben Kenobi, basically help Luke come to from the concussion and stuff. So basically he did some kind of force healing, and that's even described.
Well, not at that level though.
Yeah, not at that level.
I mean, if Kenobi, right before he becomes the Jedi Knight, isn't able to heal Qui-Gon, then how the hell could a toddler heal Mando?
Yeah.
The only explanation is that Kenobi is indeed retarded.
No, not one of the greatest characters in Star Wars.
Well,
no way.
In Disney Star Wars, he has to be. He's dumber than a toddler.
Oh my God. That is funny. That is sad but funny at the same time. So what do you think about his lightsaber style?
Jedi Padawan trailer says maybe Ahsoka will finally die in the Obi-Wan show. How is that possible if she's in The Mandalorian? That takes place 20 years later.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I want to see Ahsoka die, though. Holy shit.
Yeah, I think she's spent her time, well overspent her time.
It's like some, when you're a kid and you have like someone in class that nobody likes because he's weird, and you invite him home once to be nice, and it just keeps showing up all day, every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
Ahsoka.
that's her. So Obi-Wan was born in 57 BBY on Stewjon. So that's the planet he's from. And we already know who his master was. And we already know his arc through the PT and the OT, a little bit through the between in the dark times. We know through the Kenobi novels and the Last of the Jedi. The Last of the Jedi it's a fun read. I'm sorry I'm not getting to you guys' comments just yet. Because in the first two novels, he has to leave Tatooine. But the biggest thing I pointed out when people argue, like, well, he leaves Tatooine in the EU. This is within 2 years of him settling down in exile. And there's a big reason why. Not only to help a fellow Jedi that kind of basically turned his back on being a Jedi, but also to make sure, and he again had a console with Qui-Gon's Force Ghost, that he needed to go and make sure, because the Empire was suspecting some kind of rebels or some kind of like doings going on in Polis Massa, and they wanted to investigate it. And so Obi-Wan went to make sure all evidence, any evidence of the twins' birth was destroyed. That's the only reason, to cover tracks. That's all. Within 2 years of his exile. Once he completed that, he went back into exile and stayed there. Because there was a reason why for that exile. We are given that. Now, to have, and I'll go into this new Disney Star Wars lore, Obi-Wan Kenobi bullshit that's coming out. To have him leave 9 years after and break that exile and compromise this very mission when Luke now is at a very impressionable age and he's preteen or maybe near teen, our teenager. I don't know, he's probably about 9 or 10 there. Compromises the story big time.
Well, the whole damn Star Wars Star Wars canon under Disney is compromised anyway.
Yeah.
So it's contradicting the movies to such an extent that it can't even take place in the same universe.
Yeah.
The stuff I mentioned about the hyperspace travel and all that, and apparently in Disney canon you can overdose on the Force, which is very weird because the Force is in you and around you anyway. You don't just drink it.
Yeah.
You guide it.
You
guide the Force because it's an ally. The Force guides you. You guide the Force.
Right. You don't have no control of it. When you believe you have control of it, that's when you're a Sith. Sith believes they have to control.
Yeah.
Where the Jedi and other Force users believe that you're one with the Force and you use it. It's like an ally.
Yeah. So when Luke dies from the Force overdose, that just contradicts the whole Star Wars universe.
The whole ally.
And the sequel trilogy is integral to Disney canon, which means, it simply can't take place in the same universe as the 6 movies George made, and that goes for Rebels and The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, all that stuff too.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're going to piss people off with what you just said, Steve.
No, it's true though, because it's just contradicting everything, and when Disney scrapped the EU, fine, they said they were going to do something better, and they only had the movies to follow. The movies was their only canon, the 6 movies. That's what they had to stick to. They couldn't do that. Filoni least of all. So Star Wars as a story, the 6 movies, was Lucas simplified myths and legends basically and put it into a story and called it Star Wars, right? It's actually it's the basics of mythology.
Yeah.
So he literally dumbed it down. And people writing for Star Wars now, Filoni and Favreau included, can't understand something that was dumbed down by design.
No.
That's when you know there's no fixing it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So with Obi-Wan Kenobi, his apprentices, of course, we know that Luke and Anakin Skywalker were, of course, Anakin first, then Luke, but then also Ferris Olin, who was, and it was briefly, who was the one that he went to aid and help, and then together they went to Polis Massa to make sure all traces were covered, and with what, the birth of the twins and stuff. So during that time, he helped him reestablish himself as a Force user, or at least confidence in being a Jedi. So Ferris Olin is one, and then Hologod Ventor, which I really don't know much about that story. That's another one that's said to be a apprentice, and I'll look into that more and share on Twitter what that's about. And and it could be from the same story from The Last of the Jedi. I just don't recall. So anybody who remembers the story, I've only read I've read it in the past, and I just revisited the first 3 novels. That's all, recently, or not too long ago. And then, of course, we know that Obi-Wan Kenobi had a romantic interest with Siri Tachi, and 32 BBYs when he lost Qui-Gon, and then 22 BBYs when he lost his love interest, which they never really fully pursued, and that's Siri Tachi. So what do you think about that, Stig?
I don't remember too much about that, so I can't.
Okay.
But yeah, Kenobi had to put aside a lot of stuff to be a Jedi.
Right. And that's what he did, is like, it was like he had romantic interest, but it was never pursued. So because his heart was more with the Jedi than anything else. And then plus she also died as well. So he suffered that loss. So that's kind of like a heartbreaking story right there. Logan, I'm sick right now, so sadly I'm home, but I got to watch, so I'm happy. Well, I hope you feel better, Logan. Get well.
Get well soon.
Yes, and Sukuri, the Book of Boba Fett is fucking retarded. Yeah, and I guess I seen that the finale of the Book of Boba Fett had more views than the finale of The Mandalorian, and some people are making a big deal about it. I don't think it's a big deal. I think people were just kind of like, let's see what they're going to lead to, because they were given.
Oh, it's because they wanted to see Han Solo.
Yeah, I was going to get to that point.
You had some idiots claiming Han Solo would show up because whatever. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, and another thing too.
They basically sold tickets for Disney. Well done.
Yeah, well done. And then another thing too is that they gave us peeps into what's going on with The Mandalorian. So we got 2 non-Book of Boba Fett stories, right? And then so people were curious to see if they were going to continue on with that. And
I called it right away. Baby Yoda was going to pick the chainmail that they took from the Lord of the Rings, the Mithril chainmail Bilbo had. That one, because they're going to just toss Baby Yoda around into all the series. She's going to be linking all the series together, and now Disney can sell a brand new Baby Yoda with a chainmail.
That's exactly
brand new product right there.
Did you see the Lego? They have the Naboo starfighter with Baby Grogu and that shop lady and the Mandalorian.
The Naboo starfighter thing. Yeah, Baby Yoda is going to be dead as soon as they make a long hyperspace jump, because starfighters are not made for long space travel, because they don't have the life support for it, which is why they get carried around, and even the X-wings are carried around in cruisers and the like. But yeah, they're going to die, both of them, logically. If they follow the lore, which they don't. Because a hyperspace jump can take weeks.
Right.
And
the port that Grogu sits in is supposed to be for astromech.
Yeah.
So, That's
which
crazy.
means if the starfighter takes damage, they don't have an R2 unit or an R5 or whatever to help fix the ship,
Mm-hmm.
divert power from shields to speed, whatever.
Yeah.
So he's basically extremely vulnerable to any kind
Mhm.
of damage at this point.
Yeah. Exactly.
Especially, I don't think the Naboo starfighters have shields either. They're
I have
simply
to look
too
into that.
small. The very basic fighters.
I have to look into that. But yeah, um, it doesn't make sense into how the Naboo starfighter was created for what they did with it, and it didn't make sense for her to even find the parts on Tatooine to
No,
fix.
you know what? Uh, the fact that that lady could fix up the Naboo fighter
Mm-hmm.
so that it didn't need a droid by just using cheap junk, right? If she
Mm-hmm.
could do that with junk, why the hell couldn't the rich nation of Naboo have done the same ages ago?
Mm-hmm.
Or why couldn't the rebels do that with the X-wing and the A-wings and what have you?
Yeah.
So, if it was that easy, then sorry, everyone in the Rebel Alliance were retarded.
Oh my God. It's just it's like a downward spiral.
Yeah, because stuff like that has ripple effects. You
Yep.
know,
Mm-hmm.
if
Yeah.
if you retroactively change lore and or add new items like the tracking fob or the Bacta spray, uh, you get all kinds of issues with
Mm-hmm.
you know why didn't they do this in that movie then?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right, so we stole assassins. First, we have D&D ruined Game of Thrones, and we have Favreau and Filoni, FNF, with Star Wars. Yeah, there's. I mean, that's just the way it feels like it's going with the franchises these
Oh,
days.
Filoni was the one who suggested what the stuff they did with Luke in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah,
Disney has released excerpts from that planning session. That was Filoni
yeah,
having Luke
exactly.
be as a like a hobo,
Yeah.
and which probably explains why he got so touchy afterwards when people didn't like Rey, because he attacked the fans for not liking Rey. He's on
Mm-hmm.
camera doing that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So Corey, holy shit! I just realized this very second that the twin sons are foreshadowing Luke, for Luke and Leia's, or for Luke's twin sister. Mind blown. Yeah, maybe that was the intention too. I know that later in the lore, as the lore was being developed and expanded and stuff, and I shared a clip from the Kenobi novel with the Tusken Raiders. Basically, those are brothers, and one revealed its face, the other one failed to kill him after revealing his face, which goes into Tusken lore on why they wear masks, and also shares and foreshadows about when the Rakata attacked and came and took over Tatooine and then attacked and bombarded it and turned it into a sand planet. So there's a lot of lore behind that. When you read the Obi-Wan Kenobi, Obi-Wan or Kenobi novel, okay, Laura, let your mind slow down here. Then you'll get a lot of lore, not only for callbacks to different scenarios that happened with Obi-Wan Kenobi, but also with the Tusken Raiders and why they act the way they do and how they are, and like their myths, like the twin sons and what that means. And then you remembering back with the attack on Tatooine, and all this other stuff. So you get a lot of that nice continuity, juicy mytho lores and history, according even to the Tusken Raiders.
Well,
So it's a really good read.
side note on that though is that in
Mhm.
in the prequels they're called Tusken Raiders because
Right.
they say it at the pod race.
Hmm.
So the name Tusken Raider is canon,
Right.
and Disney Star Wars uses it too. But
Hmm.
in Disney canon, the Tusken Raiders never sacked Fort Tusken.
Hmm.
which was how they got their name. They sacked Fort Tuscan and killed everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So they shouldn't even be called Tuscan Raiders in Disney canon, because in the High Republic, which is 200 years before Episode 1, I think,
Mm-hmm.
they're mapping up out hyperspace lanes in the Outer Rim.
Yeah.
Tatooine is in the Outer Rim. It wasn't settled 200 years before, Episode 1. So Fort Tuscan doesn't exist in Disney canon, yet they are called Tuscan Raiders in Disney canon. Spot the plot hole, right?
Yeah.
Which also means Knights of the Old Republic can't take place in Disney canon, because most of it takes place in the Outer Rim,
Right.
where there's no hyperspace lanes, according to the High Republic.
Yeah. That they're barely mapping it out when it's like, what, 200 years before the PT?
Yeah. So Knights of the Old Republic, issue.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
means Darth Bane in the Clone Wars is an issue.
Yeah.
And so is Revan. Revan has been named after who? Because the Revan story can't possibly happen in Disney canon.
Yeah. They can bring back, and like with the rise of Palpatine, they can make callbacks to these Sith lords that was in the original lore. It doesn't mean that it's canon to the lore, right? They can just use them as, like callbacks. Doesn't mean that their story is going to be the same at all, right? Just like when Filoni named Ezra, or not Ezra, as canon, and what's her name's kid after Jason. Doesn't mean
have a Yoda going, Sith, always two there are, except 200 years ago.
Yeah, except for 200 years ago, not over
except
like
200 years ago when I was 700 years old.
Right, exactly. So let's go back to Obi-Wan Kenobi. So as a young man, he was fascinated by machines, building models and ships, even dreaming of becoming a pilot. But basically, we also know he was done with being a pilot as well. As he grew older, though, he despised flying, and his ability to repair machinery and reprogram computers would serve him well in the future. So that's a little bit of history right there with him. We also know that as a Padawan, he became friends with Bant Aaron and even Quinlan Voss. So we did cover that in the Republic novels, about the flashbacks from when it was I think it was the Stark Hyperdrive War, or whatever it's called. Just whatever it's called. I probably got that wrong, and I'm sorry. And they were basically swimming and having fun with each other. And, Quinlan almost drowned, and Obi-Wan went in to save him, and Quinlan ended up saving both of them. So they were close. So for me, seeing them, and then also later on when Quinlan had to go undercover as a sentinel and to help locate and find the Sith, we went through that arc as well. And then Kenobi kind of like knowing that Quinlan was savable or redeemable, and he still had his doubts and stuff like that. Seeing that whole arc, was very, very interesting. So when I've seen the Clone Wars and how that turned Quinlan into the surfer dude, it was just very disturbing to me that this arc between Quinlan and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the arc that Quinlan was on during that time, how it contradicted, and how bad
that arc is referenced in Revenge of the Sith.
Mm-hmm. It is,
because Quinlan in the comics which were released before Revenge of the Sith, I believe, does move his troop from Seleucumai. So he's basically referencing something that's happening at the same time in the comics, which means Quinlan Voss was never intended to be a surfer dude. But we know for a fact now that Filoni never read the EU. He looked at the pictures, because Alora and I have found almost 10 instances where he's just copied comic panels from the EU and put them in the Mandalorian and stuff like that. So he just does, this looks cool, I'll use this. Even Ezra's backstory, when Ezra is introduced, he's at the marketplace and all. That's identical to the first X-Wing comic when we see Wedge's background.
Mhm.
He just stole Wedge, which is why probably he had to give Wedge a new backstory in Rebels, because he had already used it for Ezra.
Mhm.
And what was his name? Din Djarin.
Yeah.
His background is straight out of the Jango Fett comic.
Right. Mhm.
It's just
And
copy and paste. And the what was it? The thing they used to Baby Yoda had to meditate on a rock or whatever.
Mhm.
That stuff that was lifted from a Clone Wars comic, because you and I spotted it last year.
Yeah, exactly.
He
There's so many
just steals it.
instances. Yeah, there's so many instances like they flip through like their source material, quote unquote source material. They're like, "Oh, that's neat. We can do this and whatever." Thinking
Oh,
they're honoring
oh,
the EU.
oh, and then the book of Boba Fett is dead.
Mm-hmm.
That comic, because I read it a couple of weeks ago. The scene where the what's his name, Moff Gideon,
Mm-hmm.
has his troops outside the house where Mando and the others are holed up.
Yeah.
That's straight from that comic. He just copied that too.
Yeah, with his troopers, with
Yeah,
the
even
dad
the same
of the
lighting.
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the same lighting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the crazy how when you get and when you revisit these and you are privy to what's going on in the new lore, how much it feels like and seems like, and even probably more than likely evident that they're just cherry picking in the name of honoring the EU. Which many people who say, "Oh well, don't be mad, they're honoring the EU. You should be glad." No, they're taking and bastardizing the stories. They're making secondhand stories that don't even make sense anymore. They're taking stuff that was good that we all loved and turning it into something completely different.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's very
I mean
positive.
uh, Cole Katarn and Jan Ors have been ripped off twice actually.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue One and then Rebels, because Kyle is Kanan,
Yeah.
Jan Ors is Hera. And fun fact, uh, Filoni even used the same voice actress for Hera that voiced Jan Ors in Jedi Knight 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same voice actress, the same voice, the pretty much the same outfit, the same job. He only made Hera a Twi'lek instead of a human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so let's move on with Obi-Wan Kenobi going into his early years. So we know that we're in the history, not maybe some of you guys don't know, so you're learning now, is that Padawans are selected before they're 13. And once they reach 13, if they're not selected, they are put into the Jedi Service Corps. And even though Kenobi was very gifted in the Force and was very strong in the Force, he kept on being passed on. And by the age of 12, coming on to 13, he was getting ready to be placed in the Service Corps. And one day, Qui-Gon Jinn visited the temple and watched the matches. And basically, he was watching Kenobi duel, and I think the competitor was Brooke Chun, I believe. And I guess he basically was impressed by him and eventually took him in. Actually, he was impressed by him and stuff like that. And Kenobi was getting ready to be taken into the Agra Corps. And by luck and chance and being impressed and stuff, Qui-Gon went ahead and took him as a Padawan. I'm trying to condense this. There's more story to that. So we see Obi-Wan as a young Jedi, not being brought in as a Jedi from the beginning or to become a Padawan from the beginning, which I think is a very wonderful arc for him, because we see him really wanting to prove himself, really wanting to be dedicated to the Jedi. And it goes with his persona as, embracing the Jedi way, because he was given that chance by Qui-Gon. And he always had to, prove himself, which in a way, Anakin had to do the same thing. But Anakin, his with Obi-Wan, his was more humility or humbleness, but where with Anakin, his is more prideful. Like he's like, I can do this. I've proven myself. I am the chosen one, so I deserve this stuff. Whereas Obi-Wan Kenobi's like, I'm gonna impress you. I'm gonna do the best I can, and whatever the outcome is will happen. And so I think the humbleness played well with Obi-Wan Kenobi. So And I don't know if you remember that arc or whatsoever, Stig.
I'm unsure. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, so that's his early years. So like I said, he wasn't just selected like right away as a very gifted. He was almost going into the core, the Jedi core, where they just turn you into workers, and you work for them and you have other jobs and stuff, and you're not a knight. And so that was a very interesting arc for him as well. And Magneto Alex, hello. You need to email me. You won the copy of my Son of Khufu painting. So I want to hear from you so I can get that printed and to you. So he says, even the most positive new canon guy I know, two Star Wars nerds on YouTube, is seeming to get more and more disappointed at the point where he's heading towards an EU only mindset. That's what I've been noticing lately. And mind you, I have my latest video and it's gotten like over 1,000 reviews. I'm very proud of that one. And it's about basically Favreau and Filoni are still on course with, taking the lore towards the ST or the DT.
There's a rumor about the Lucasfilm wanting to do a Shadows of the Empire movie.
I seen that.
It's most likely bullshit, but that whole time period where Shadows of the Empire takes place in Disney canon, is cluttered with comics about Luke.
Right, and there's even one where
even the Bounty Hunter comics takes place during that period. So it's absolutely not doable in Disney canon. But what if they're actually trying to release a Legends movie?
I'd still
try and suck up to old fans.
That could be possible. Now, what do you think about that as a EU fan?
I don't want Disney to touch the EU.
Right.
Actually,
that's the same here. Same here.
It's just I've seen a lot of people go, EU people just want the EU adapted to the screen. No, I don't. Not if Disney does it.
Not if Disney does
never
it.
wanted that.
I'd rather have a fan make the film like the one that is Legacy of the Force with Jaina and Jason's duel, or like what Darth Angelus is doing with Heir to the Empire. I'd rather have.
He's doing a great job with Heir to the Empire, actually.
Yep, we did a
kudos to him. I mean, well done, and he's doing it all alone too. I think
he does have help. There's people that help him with the production and stuff. So he does, but his vision with the people that are working alongside him with that, I would say, kudos to him. I can't wait to see more episodes come and finally do a part 2 review of the ones that he comes out with. I'm looking forward to that very much.
It probably takes a lot of time.
It does. And so kudos to him, because that animation and getting the voiceovers and all that stuff right, and it to flow right. Like I said, I kudos to him and his production team.
The only thing I would want from the EU basically is that the books that were planned get finished. I mean, the Sword of the Jedi trilogy, and the Darth Zana duology. And there was talk of 2 Nomi Sunrider books as well. If for some reason those books got finished and released, I'd be happy. Fine.
Soul Assassin you're just a black pill not allowing a brilliant Filoni from saving Star Wars with the EU.
You know what? If you want to see the brilliance of Favreau, go watch the Shannara Chronicles. Favreau produced that one. It's based on Terry Brooks's books, the Shannara books. Yeah, it doesn't look like it whatsoever. It's lore breaking, and it has the same stupid writing as the Book of Boba Fett.
Okay.
Favreau was awesome with Iron Man. He struck gold with that one. But
the stuff
he did,
it's his thing. Iron Man is his thing.
The stuff he
Even
did before he got into Star Wars,
mhm,
that was the Shannara Chronicles. And if any in the chat has watched that one, you know
mhm,
it's bad. It's
mhm,
so bad. Uh, it almost got canceled after one season, and then another channel bought it basically, and then it tanked during season 2. And he was doing the same thing. He was taking characters from the Shannara canon that
mhm,
didn't belong in that time period whatsoever. One
mhm.
character had been dead 1,000 years, and he brought her into the show. So it's and this is the guy we're going to trust with lore.
Yeah.
Really,
And that's the thing.
people are skipping the Shannara show,
Yeah.
because that's not a feather in his hat.
Mm-mm. Yeah. And the thing is, like, okay, so his legacy is always going to be Iron Man, and that's you're always going to have one that you're really, really going to be good at. George
Oh,
basically,
he was
Star Wars.
great with
Yes.
well, maybe not Iron Man 3, but
Yeah,
1
Iron
and
Man,
2
there's
were
always going
great.
to be one that's going to be kind of like, what were you doing there? That's with Star Wars, with George's movies. There's, we have like, okay, I get what you're doing here. I still like it, but you could have probably
Yeah,
done this.
Soul Assassin is right. The show was
Uh-huh.
so bad it ended up on MTV. Yeah,
Yes. And then so my point is like, okay, so it's okay. Nothing is nothing is beyond being critiqued. Not even Favreau and Filoni's works in Disney Star Wars. Not even George
not
Lucas'
even the
work.
EU.
Yeah, and not the EU, not George's work with the 6 Star Wars movies, not Filoni's The Clone Wars, not even Tartakovsky's Clone Wars, all right? So nothing is free from critique, nothing, and fans of the said property are allowed to talk about what they like, what they dislike. If they don't agree with it, they're allowed to disagree. They're allowed to be disenfranchised and talk about something. There is no rules for that. No one can tell you how to feel or think or how to be a fan of the said property. So if the said person is not feeling too cool with what's going on in the franchise and speaks out against it and you disagree, that's fine. That's not going to stop you from being a fan. If you don't like it, then move on, block the person, don't listen to them, enjoy the content you love. As simple as that.
Well, if someone just goes worst ever, that's not really a critique, is it? But if someone says, yeah, I think this is bad and this is why, then the
Mm-hmm.
person has obviously thought about it,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
made up some arguments for it, which is
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I stand with what I said right there. And so if you want to label people as black pills, fine then. I'm the worst black pill ever because I'm
I don't
telling
even
you
know what a
guys,
black pill is, to be honest.
I guess it's just someone that takes something and says something negative and expects people to follow. I don't know. I'm like basically doing
like kind of like bashing the sequel trilogy for breaking the lore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That would make you a black pill, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did that. I'm a black pill.
I'm saying I'm like the worst because you're critiquing it, you're not liking it, you're offering negative criticism, you want everybody to be miserable with you, and that's not the fact, and you want them to follow what you say. Me, I'm like what you like. I always say that. Even my last video that reached over 1,000 views to just by this morning. I'm like what you like. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm
So I'm the
actually
worst.
having a blast reading old fantasy books
Yeah.
nowadays that I
Yeah.
haven't read before. It's awesome.
Yeah.
There's so much
Exactly.
good stuff out there. And actually, I did a tweet
Mm-hmm.
yesterday asking people, hey, what's your favorite fantasy book that isn't The Lord of the Rings? And I woke up this morning and it had like over 100 comments. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
shit, it blew up.
Yeah.
So if people just look at that thread,
Mm-hmm.
and you like to read fantasy,
Yeah.
just look at that one. You'll get thousands, well, not thousands, hundreds of recommendations.
Yeah. That's
of
simple.
stuff to read. It's
Yeah.
there's stuff out there for people to enjoy big time.
Yeah, exactly. No, Soul Assassin, and you know what? I'm gonna drop it now. I don't care anymore. she doesn't want to, and that's fine. And she doesn't want to have an intelligent conversation on, what's really going on in the matter and why people feel the way they do. She just wants to gaslight and make assumptions, and that's her. That's her. And more power to her, and if the spy is watching and listening right now,
There's a spy?
There's a spy.
Oh, good.
There's a spy from England that sent her information about me sharing.
I'm so behind on stuff like that. You know what? I don't even want to know. I don't care.
Yeah, it's so funny. My spy. But anyway, so it's Stephanie. I'm not gonna go around pretending like I don't like I'm top secret about revealing names anymore. The thing is like I do my research, whatever. She got mad. Excuse me. She got mad because I shared that Favreau shared in the final season finale of Mandalorian 2, season 2, that they brought in Kathleen Kennedy, from the beginning of planning on bringing Luke Skywalker in. So she was involved, and they praised her for brilliance and
that's
stuff.
That's old news, isn't it? I remember.
That's old news, but they're still saying that she never knew.
No. I've seen both Favreau and Filoni say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She greenlit it.
Sukari says, "I'm the spy." Dun dun dun. Why, hello, glad to meet you. And then Jedi Padawan trailer. It's not me, honest. Laugh out loud. Are you from England?
I have a question. Why would a spy be needed for a live stream?
I don't know.
Because it's not like it's hidden, is it?
Mm-mm.
I don't know. Yeah, spy away. Keep spying.
Yeah, I keep spying. That's okay. I'm not hiding anything, and I have nothing to hide. And I
can spy on my fantasy book tweets and all.
Right.
Great fun.
Yeah. And so I'm being called a troll because I posted that about Kennedy. I don't care. It's just the truth.
How was it? If you posted it on someone else's channel,
then it could be a troll.
Might have been trolling. If you do it on your own, how's that trolling?
I don't know, but that's what they're doing. And so we're straying far away from the topic that I wanted to talk about. So that's what's going on. And, I'm done with it now. It's okay. My channel is going to exist. My channel has jumped over 100 subscribers within the last couple of days. Thank you guys so much for coming in and subscribing and contributing to the channel. My membership's always open. Thank you so much, you guys, as well. In fact, I am getting ready to announce when I'm going to start doing the new painting campaign. For the book of for Boba Fett and the Slave One painting. I haven't came up with a title yet. I'm getting ready to put it on canvas now and start painting. And I will announce, I'm hoping the beginning of February, we could start beginning that campaign for channel members who come in. Will have a chance to have their name entered into a drawing to win the painting. Last one to win was Magneto Alex 2. So I sent you the email in the chat.
It would be fun if he wins every damn time and he doesn't have the wall space for it. And they just keep coming.
Oh my God.
Of Star Wars paintings.
Yeah. But thank you. And then the first winner out of this the campaign is Teresa, our Miss Smart Muses. So thank you so much again for everyone who either subscribes, comes in and watches, or become a member. I am trying to come up with something to give a chance for just anyone to win a copy of something. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that, just to give back to everyone, not only the channel members. So I'm trying to do something. I'm going to make that one annually. I just don't know what I'm going to do yet. So that's what's going on and what's new with kind of new with the channel. So thank you guys. So let's go back to Obi-Wan real quick, and then we'll conclude this chat here. Let's see here. What did I want to touch bases on? Let's see here. We talked about him and Quinlan Voss, him and coming a Padawan and eventually come to a Jedi Knight. So let's talk about him becoming a Jedi Knight. So we know that he was the first in over 1,000 years to kill a Sith, which basically was his trial. So we've spoken about this a little bit before on my channel, Stig. But the trials and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there
So,
were trials of the spirit, trials of
mm-hmm,
the flesh, which means you had to get injured somehow, I believe.
mm-hmm,
To basically take an injury for the good of others.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it was trial of skill. That was another
Mm-hmm.
one. And Anakin actually goes through all of them in the
Yeah.
prequels.
Yep. Exactly. And Anakin, all of that. The only thing is that he ends up becoming a Sith, though. But
Actually, Luke goes through the same trials,
he
which is
does.
why he's a Jedi Knight at the end of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there's a reason Luke. There's actually several reasons why Luke
Mm-hmm.
loses his hand, story
Mm-hmm.
wise. But
Yep.
that's also it's, believe it or not, it's part of the trials. You have to. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And so that is what what helped him become a Jedi Knight. And there's been debate about, well, Kenobi was still too young and a little bit ignorant to take on such a big responsibility of Anakin Skywalker. What do you think about that? Do you have the same thought process, or do you have anything to counter that?
Well,
Or
maybe, but
Mhm.
I think it's all also a case of Anakin's personality. It's he's hard to control. He's very impulsive,
Mhm.
and even impulsive in the third movie.
Mhm. Yeah. I think we see impulsiveness in a lot of the Jedi, even the Sith and stuff when you get into the lore, even in the movies. Um, like Mace Windu has some impulsiveness too as well. Um, which eludes that no one's perfect. And I think that's what people think, that the Jedi were like, they're thinking they were too good and they were too perfect in the PT. And that's why Luke said that they must end in the Disney trilogy, which I disagree with. The Jedi were like Yoda said in Revenge of the Sith novelization, that he failed to allow the Jedi to evolve. Now, that's not necessarily dogmatic. Now, some thoughts were dogmatic. Like the attachment thing, which Luke corrected. And so when you see in the new lore, Luke saying talk about attachments and having, and dealing absolutes to the baby Grogu or whatever, and where he must be at, he must choose. That is also alluding to the fact that Luke is on his way, on his path to his Disney trilogy arc,
Only
because
a
he's
Sith
not.
deals in absolutes. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, he's talking to a toddler. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you take the shirt, you don't get the lightsaber. That same lightsaber, by
Mm-hmm.
the way, was destroyed right after Revenge of the Sith in Disney canon. It got thrown into a furnace.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, well done,
There's two
Filoni.
incidents. That- There's two of them on. There's two incidences in the Disney lore. One, Yoda saber is getting destroyed in the inferno, in the furnace. Another one is that Yoda has it and he turns it into a bow.
Okay,
Yeah.
it
So
turns
I'm
into a
like,
bow.
yeah, he takes it apart and uses the hilt for, like, the
Oh yeah, but
the bow part.
the story group guy said that that was a continuity issue.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the tweet of that. Someone dug it out. So
Yeah.
Yoda having two lightsabers is, according to the story group, a continuity issue. He said this
Mm-hmm.
Yoda's lightsaber was destroyed in that comic. So
Mm-hmm.
now they fucked it up twice. Actually, they fucked up
Right.
Yoda's lightsaber twice. The story group
Yeah.
are not doing their job.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so going back to Obi-Wan Kenobi, so like we said, he gets granted to have a Padawan and stuff. And so we know the arc with that and his relationship with Anakin Skywalker. So what do you think about his relationship with Anakin Skywalker?
Well, it goes up and down. It's almost chaotic at times,
Mm-hmm.
but
Like
it's a lot like an older brother with a younger brother. You know,
Mhm.
trying
Yeah.
to keep him in check and out of trouble, and then at the same time, also trying to be his teacher.
Right.
And for some reason, Anakin manages to learn anyway stuff that Kenobi wasn't even attending. So it's
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
chaotic.
Yeah. I thought it was very interesting. Yeah, you could see it as chaotic too as well. I thought it was very interesting because I've said this before, is that Anakin, he wore his heart on his sleeve and he wanted to protect and save everybody. And that's even alluded in the Revenge of the Sith novel as well. And even in the Republic comics that we had reviewed when he thought he lost Obi-Wan Kenobi. And, so
Another thing,
that was,
sorry.
go ahead.
Another thing that's, with Kenobi and Anakin, they're almost polar opposites. Anakin relies on emotion, which is what the Sith do as well.
Yeah.
And he's impulsive and very rash, and he likes flying. Kenobi hates flying. He is calculating, and he's calm and reasonable. So that polar opposites.
The yin and yang
which
each other.
Maybe not a good thing for a teacher and a student, because they're not on the same frequency.
Yeah.
But they get along anyway, though. But it's still,
they have that relationship still, even though they have opposite mindsets when it comes to dealing with situations and stuff. And so that also has benefit them as well in circumstances.
Oh yeah, it's like Riggs and Murtaugh.
Exactly.
From the Lethal Weapon movies.
Yeah, exactly. But we see, but if we didn't have Palpatine seducing and conditioning Anakin, maybe it would still been a great relationship and a great team, because it's okay to have opposite opinions and come to a conclusion of what we need to do, right? But Anakin also had Palpatine planting seeds in him of doubt and fear and separation and all this other stuff when it came to the Jedi and even to Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so that's what fed further into Anakin's emotions. So he used Anakin's emotions to get him, in as a Sith and stuff. So that was brilliant done by Palpatine. And too bad Obi-Wan. I know Obi-Wan, suspected stuff in a sense, but he didn't know to the extent what was really going on until it was too late, right? And so just imagine, like I said, if we didn't see the conditioning from Palpatine, how well those two would have been a great team of Jedi together. Because we did see it, but we know that the seduction is what caused Anakin to turn and walk away from everything and basically kill everything that resembled his past. So yeah, so that's a very interesting arc. So I'm going to end with that. It's 11:08 here. I have a meeting to attend to at 11:30. So thank you guys for coming in again, Magnino. Alex, thank you again for supporting the channel and winning, and of course, winning the copy of my painting. To everybody here who is subscribers and also members, thank you again. Thank you for those people who are watching who have not decided to subscribe yet. I hope you do. And those lurking, the spy, hello. I appreciate your support as well. So you guys have a good day. And Stig, where do you plan? What's going on with you for the coming week?
Oh, just Teresa's chat on Saturday for the Lord of the Rings book talk thing. We're going through chapter by chapter, and we're halfway through Return of the King. So we're about to head into the Frodo and Sam chapters, which is going to be fun. And I think that's it.
Okay, awesome. And you guys go watch that, because more than ever, the original franchises need to be supported. Not only Star Wars, but Lord of the Rings. So the more you have the classical canon stuff in front of you, and share it with others and keep it in front of others, the more it's going to be honored. Because right now the trend is, destroying canon, destroying stories, changing them up for whatever reason.
It's not just Star Wars. I mean, I saw just yesterday that J.J. Abrams, the guy who was supposed to fix the sequel trilogy because he was a big fan. He is going to do another Star Trek movie. So
I see that too.
Owning this and that franchise, Star Wars is not alone. It's whoever's doing that is not listening to fans at all. because
No, they don't care about fans.
Star Trek fans, like Star Wars fans, hate J.J. Abrams.
Right. We have
They
something
don't
in
like
common.
him. The guy is franchise poison.
Right. Right.
I mean, he killed off Han Solo. That's the first
Mhm.
thing he did. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And Friday night, the spacing is going to talk about Star Trek. I won't be on there because I'm just I'm a very casual fan with Star Trek. So I wouldn't know the ins and outs of things that have been happening. Like even with JJ, I just know some pieces, and that, you know, he really pissed off fans with a lot of stuff he did and changes or whatever. So go ahead and see that, watch that on Open Airlock Policies channel, on Tim's channel. That's Friday night. I will share that in my tweets as well. So if you guys are interested in this, hear what they talk about, and I'm pretty sure they're going to bring up J.J. Abrams with that, head on over and support. Tell them that OG sent you as well. And as for me, my EU clips that I'll be sharing, or EU shorts that I'll be sharing, is going to be based off of the book Kenobi. And any other thing that has Obi-Wan Kenobi in on Audible, because we are on the cusp of having the Kenobi show come out. I figured keeping the original Obi-Wan Kenobi stories and lore character in front of you is the best thing to do. I did that with Boba Fett and shared a lot of his clips from Audible. We went through the comics that had his story arc as well. So I'm going to do that as well. So stay tuned for that. Latest video I have up is about the DT not being changed or erased. And then everything's going to head towards the Disney trilogy as well. So check that video out. And thank you guys for coming and joining in on the chat. I had wonderful speaking or going over that comic with you guys and speaking about Obi-Wan Kenobi and sharing our thoughts about everything. So thank you guys again, and may the Force be with you.
Another happy landing.